Hi, welcome to Good Garage. I'm Zach, and this is my funny little internet show about whitewater things. And in today's episode, I want to talk about perimeter lines. Perimeter lines are somewhat controversial. It's something that I haven't personally used much in my guiding career. The companies that I've worked for didn't have them. The places I learned didn't have them. I learned in California where we do a lot of low water rocky runs. And so when somebody swims, you don't necessarily want them to grab the boat because they could get slammed between the boat and a rock. And I also always learned to go to the handle, like have people go to the handle or pull them immediately. But here in the Northwest, a lot of companies use them, a lot of private boaters use them. And the idea is if you swim, you want to be able to grab the boat and easily get back in. So it's controversial whether you like it or not. I've historically not liked it because that's what I've learned. You know, sort of like I like pins and clips more because I learned on pins and clips. Same thing, I didn't learn perimeter lines. So I didn't learn with perimeter lines, so I haven't been a big advocate, but I'm trying to understand them. I'm trying to like them. I'm trying to give them a fair chance. And people call them perimeter lines. They call them chicken lines. I call them danger ropes because you can get your hand or leg stuck in them, and that's not good. So it's like to me, it's like you're adding a piece of safety line, but it's also adding danger. It's sort of a trade-off for you. Does the extra safety of the line you can grab add more value to the potential danger that it creates? And that's a really tough thing, and you all need to make your own decision. You don't have to have this line, but you may want to. But what is critical is that the line is tight. If the line is loose, it's definitely more danger than not having it, because first of all, you can easily get a hand or leg stuck. And when you go to grab it, you're going to still be like a foot or two away from the boat. So a loose perimeter line or danger rope or whatever you want to call it is definitely a net negative. If you're going to have these lines on the boat, they need to be tight. And that's sort of been my issue with them throughout a lot of my careers. Not every time I see the lines, but a lot of the times when I see these lines, they're incredibly loose. And people don't tighten them. And it's hard. A system that keeps these lines tight isn't easy. And so they make sense in theory, but in the real world, they may not because people don't keep them tight. And so this spring, I met Mark Hurst. He's a raft guide instructor and swiftwater technician and swiftwater instructor for Rescue 3 and for the International Rafting Federation. And he's a huge advocate of these perimeter lines. And I explained this to Mark, and I said, hey, if it's loose, it doesn't help anybody. And he's like, yeah, don't have it be loose. And I'm like, well, that's hard to do because ropes are long, they stretch out over time. The boat settles in, and he showed me a way that I really like for attaching lines. That's what I'm going to show you right now in this video, and I'm a pretty big fan of it. I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to try it out. And the one thing I like about it is that instead of using one long rope around the entire boat, he does two separate ropes from bow to stern. Because when over time rope stretches, well, if it's only half of a rope, it's not going to stretch quite as much. So it's less likely there's going to be less stretch if the rope is shorter. So having two separate lines, having it fixed rigidly at the front, and having it in the back a way that can be easily tightened if it gets loose. So like you could pull over in an eddy, jump out, tighten it in 20 seconds, and get back in. If you notice most perimeter lines, it would be a massive project to retie the perimeter line. So that's what I want to show you here today. Before I do that, let's talk about rope a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what rope is the best. This is 3/8 inch grab line by Sterling. It's throwback rope. I love this rope. It grabs really nice. You can see it's visible. Static line may be better because it doesn't stretch as much. But those of you that are experts in these things, I'd love to hear what rope you like to use and have suggestions for people that want to have perimeter lines. Again, I don't really use them, so I don't have a ton of expertise on the kind of rope you'd want to use. I'm just using this grab line because I like it. So first of all, the first step to doing this perimeter line is to rigidly tie it off in the bow. And to do that, he does a single fisherman's. So a lot of you may know the double fisherman's. That's the not used to make a prusik loop. The single fisherman's is just half of that. It's a great way to rigidly and tightly tie the line off to a D-ring. If you want to learn how to tie the single fisherman's, go to YouTube, search. You'll find tons of videos on how to tie that knot. It's not that hard. The nice thing about tying this is you don't have to do this in the field. You can just do that at home. So you can be there right next to your YouTube machine watching YouTube, and then you just put it through the D-rings. And I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason about how you put them which way. I'm just randomly putting them through. And this is where a boat with a lot of D-rings is nice. You want small distances in between. If there's a long distance between D-rings, the rope in the center tends to snag or come out farther from the boat. You know, especially SOTARs have really far away D-rings, and you see on a lot of SOTARs these really droopy perimeter lines. So having a lot of D-rings is really nice for setting these up. Going around to the back, here you want to tie a Munter hitch. A Munter hitch is an adjustable knot. Did it wrong. Do it like that. And it's used in climbing a lot, so you can rappel with it if you don't have your rappel device. And you want to get this as tight as you can, so really yank on it. And then tie the Munter hitch off with 2 half hitches. 1, 2. And you can see that's pretty tight. It's a nice, tight perimeter line around the outside. And I just did it pretty quickly. If I really took my time and pulled on it, I could get it pretty tight in there. And the nice thing about that system is you can, again, you can eddy out really quick, undo the half hitches and tighten it. I'll show you. So if I'm finding this is loose, and that's actually pretty loose, right? If people pull on it, it quickly gets loose. You can just pull on the eddy, undo the half hitches. 1, 2. Tighten the Munter hitch. Pull it a little bit more through. And then redo your half hitches. And you have a tighter perimeter line. So, you know, I'm a big fan of this because it's quickly adjustable. You know, you can quickly do it in the field if you know how to run a Munter hitch. The other piece of advice is like, have the boat a little bit soft when you put the rope on, and then when you get it all the way tight, the rope will be really tight against the boat. So that's some quick thoughts about how to do a perimeter line. I really like this technique. This is definitely a subject. There's a lot of opinions, and I really want to learn from you in the audience what you do. So if you have a better way of doing it, please tell me. If you think this is awesome, you're like, wow, that's earth-shattering. It was for me. I'd love to hear it. To say that's a pretty cool way of doing it. If you have rope ideas, please tell me, and I'd love to have a conversation in the comments. And I'll do another video. This is just sort of like an introduction showing a technique, but I would love to do a very comprehensive video about how to handle these perimeter lines and how to do them. And really, the reason that people put these on their boats, I think, is that when you have a swimmer, the swimmer can grab this. It's something to grab. Or if you're working in tight, narrow rivers and you have to do portages and things, it's nice to lift the boat by this rope instead of by a handle or a D-ring or something. So it's good for handling the boat or for swimmers to grab onto if they fall out of the boat, to quickly grab onto. If you have other reasons why you think perimeter lines are essential, again, please leave a comment in the comment section below. So that's it for this episode. I've been having a lot of fun on my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching it and all the nice comments. And if you have a minute, click that subscribe button down below. Hit the thumbs up. That really helps me out in the YouTube world. And yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.